and thank you for listening to the podcast version of the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor, airing on AWSM Radio Saturdays at 11 a.m., repeats Sunday at 11 a.m. as well. And, hey, thanks for subscribing and listening to this podcast. Remember, if you want a great social media management company, check out socialbee.io in the link at the bottom. Click on them, check them out, use them for 14 days for free. And after those 14 days, you'll want to use them all the time. All right, let's get started with this week's Saturday Report.
Now broadcasting from his hidden bunker and fully stocked bar, it is the Saturday Report with Colt Sebastian Taylor.
Thank you and welcome once again, my friends, to the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor, adventurer, entrepreneur, and amateur shipwreck explorer. Welcome to AWSM Radio, an independent digital radio station that plays today's best music, old school classics, along with a rotating cast of all-star DJs. AWSM Radio focuses on mainstream artists, independent artists, along with a variety of interesting music and talk shows throughout the day, such as my own. All we do is entertain, inspire, and inform. And my friends, I want to engage with you. I want you to be part of the conversation. So find me on the Twitter, on the Instagram, on the Facebook, on the Cameo, on the Twitch at Colt S. Taylor. Check out what I'm doing every day on ColtSebastianTaylor.com. I'm on Twitch.tv/Colt S. Taylor. As I mentioned. And then, of course, my friends, if you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast version of the show at anchor.fm/Colt S. Taylor. All right, my friends, let's get started with this week's Saturday Report. First up this week, I'm sure you've heard in the news, but I found this story to be so fascinating, going to cover it also. The submersible Titan, which was headed down to look at the Titanic this week, was confirmed to have imploded deep underwater, and all 5 passengers perished in the incident. Now, for a bit of background, this submersible was created by a commercial company that for $250,000 per person, you could go down and look at the Titanic. It was an unconventional design, apparently. Most of these things can only hold 1 or 2 people, are made of titanium, and went down there. This was made of titanium and carbon, some sort of carbon fiber, super strong carbon fiber, could fit 5 people in there, and was, I would say, slapdash put together, but there were some questions about how safe this thing was. It was controlled by a video game controller, and it went missing on Sunday. And for the last 5 days, they've been trying to find it, deploying ships, sonar buoys, other submersibles. But yesterday, once a new highly advanced submersible robot vehicle was brought online, they went down to the Titanic, and about 1,600 feet from the bow of the ship, they found the debris of this submersible, pieces of it. So it imploded. Now, what that means is that there is an incredible amount of pressure underneath the ocean. If you're at the bottom of the deepest part of the ocean, this is a pretty deep area, it is just crushing depth. In terms of measurement, I believe, like what you're seeing right now, that is equal to 1 atmosphere. Down there, that is 160 plus atmosphere. So it's 160 more pressure than the air in the atmosphere. So it's pretty intense stuff. And so when things go bad, they go bad real quick. And it imploded. Now, fortunately for them, they probably had no idea what hit them. Apparently it happened so fast that, like, the brain doesn't have time to get the signals from the parts of the body that something is wrong. It was just basically less than a snap of a finger, lights out. It's unlikely that they're going to recover any sort of remains. Everything's pretty shredded down there, and it's just, they're not going to be able to recover anything. This wasn't just like a slow leak. This thing just boom and exploded. Again, lots of questions about how safe this was. There's a few clips going on out there of a CBS News reporter saying, "Whoa, this is a lot of off-the-shelf parts here." Now, the billionaire behind it, of course, it's a billionaire, thought that visiting a ship should not be complicated. That he wanted to open it up to the public to visit the Titanic before it finally rusted away. So, there's a clip of him going around and says, "Yeah, we've broken rules. That's the only way to innovate. They say you can't make a submersible of anything other than titanium, but we did." And, I think probably the most interesting part is they had James Cameron on the Titanic, the guy who made the Titanic, the movie. He's also dived down to the Titanic many times. He says he has spent more time with the Titanic than the captain of the ship did. He's gone down there so many times. And they show, if you look at his submersible, which he goes down and visits, highly advanced. Screens everywhere. Backups on backups on backups. And he said that it was highly irresponsible for them to do this and whatnot, and it could have been prevented. Now, here's the thing. Submersibles in international waters, no regulations. No regulations whatsoever. So if you're going to fly a plane in the air, whatever country you're in, there's regulations that have to meet. You just can't. It has to be certified to be allowed to sail. If you're sailing a ship out of a port, it needs to be certified by ship people that it is a safe ship to sail. This is kind of a legal gray area. International waters, where there's no sort of law covering what ships do, and so there's no organization out there that handles submersibles either. So there's a lot of talk that there need to be more regulations and rules about submersibles and whatnot, and especially those doing it like on a whim. You could buy a submersible out there. Like, lots of rich people have little submarines on their yachts, but they don't go down 6,000, 14,000 feet, 6,000 meters. So, just saying. There was hope earlier in the week that they were still alive. They were hearing some banging noises, which is apparently a code that submariners use. But after further analysis, the ocean makes noises, and that wasn't what it is. So, anyways, the Titan lost at sea. All 5 people on board perished. British billionaire Hamish Harding, Pakistani-born business magnate Shahzad Dawood, his 19-year-old son Suleiman. They were both British citizens. French oceanographer and Titanic expert Paul Henry Narlet, who was 77 as well. And Stockton Rush, the founder and the executive of OceanGate, which was piloting the submersible. So all of them are lost. Weird coincidence. The Stockton Rush's wife, now a widow, stands to be the richest woman in Britain now. Also, a descendant from one of the survivors of the Titanic. Weird coincidence. Moving on and changing gears, the Kennedy Center. Kennedy Center are honoring 4 new people this year, as they do every year. Honorees include Dionne Warwick, Billy Crystal, opera star Renee Fleming, Bee Gees singer-songwriter Barry Gibb, and hip-hop pioneer Queen Latifah. They are the honorees this year. According to various statements, Dionne Warwick said, "Everything happens when it's supposed to. That's my attitude. So I'm thrilled that they finally got it right." She said, her eldest said, "Well, Mom, it's about time." Billy Crystal said, it's a beautiful thing there's a real special thing about it because it's not a competition, it's an appreciation. Queen Latifah said, "It's a pretty powerful night in America for American art. To be part of that is very profound." So Dionne Warwick has sold over 100 million records and 60 hits on the charts, including 19 consecutive top 100 singles with songwriters Burt Bacharach and Hal David. She used her music to power activism, such as recording the first song dedicated to AIDS awareness in 1985. The number one hit, That's What Friends Are For, with Gladys Knight, Elton John, and Stevie Wonder. Let's see here. She also made a recent appearance on Saturday Night Live because there's someone who portrays her on there. She made a surprise appearance on there. Billy Crystal, famous, unbelievably famous comedian, lifelong entertainer. He said also in a statement, "I was just totally in shock, I have to say, immediately emotional about it. I'm not a man of few words, but all I had was a few words, which was, really, well, are you sure it's not Bill Crystal, the Republican?" Obviously a joke. "I've been entertained pretty much my whole life, and I thought about that instantly, about how fast this has gone." And, of course, Barry Gibb, who's 76, singer-songwriter from the Bee Gees, said in a statement, "At this time of life, it's not something you expect." He described his feelings as stunned, proud, and honored. The Guinness World Records has said he is one of the two most successful songwriters in pop history, the other being Paul McCartney. So it's not surprising that he is joining other such music legends as Buddy Guy, Bruce Springsteen, Herbie Hancock, and Paul McCartney, who is also a Kennedy Center honoree. Barry Gibb has won 9 Grammy Awards, been inducted to the Songwriters Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and knighted in his homeland of England. He's written for lots of different people besides the Bee Gees, including Frankie Valli and Diana Ross. Some of his most famous songs include Staying Alive, To Love Somebody. He has sold more than 220 million records and clocked 21 chart toppers in the United States. Queen Latifah, who is 53, thought she might be a little young to be named in the Kennedy Center honoree, but reflected that, in fact, her first album came out when she was 19. Quote, "I guess I did start kind of young, so maybe it's right on time." She does wish that her mother, who passed away in 2018, could have seen it happen. But she said in a statement, "My creative partner, Sharkim, was one who told me, and he was one of my mother's students. We've been together my whole career, so he just got a little teary-eyed, as well as said, 'I wish your mother could be here to see this. This is really proud moment for all of us. All the stuff that we've started as teenagers paid off in such an amazing way.'" Queen Latifah has won an Emmy, a Grammy, and been nominated for an Oscar. She was considered to be the first lady of hip-hop, has had an impressive career with roles in movies as well, such as Jungle Fever Chicago, and also the television show The Equalizer. Renee Fleming, who's 64, she's performed just about everywhere singing. She sung at a Nobel Peace Prize ceremony, Buckingham Palace, Super Bowl, Luciano Pavarotti, Elton John, Andre Bocelli, Sting, Joanne Baez, all of these people. She's a goodwill ambassador for the arts and health for the World Health Organization. She has had 5 Grammys, the U.S. National Medal of Arts, the 2023 Crystal Award from the World Economic Forum, a Fulbright Lifetime Achievement Medal, and honorary doctorates from 8 universities. That is very impressive for a opera singer. So, the Kennedy Center Awards will be broadcasted on CBS in December. I believe December 3rd? Probably December 3rd. On CBS, also can watch it on Paramount Plus. It'll be held at the 2,300 plus seat Opera House and hosted by former honoree Gloria Estefan. Look at that. That's pretty good too. So check it out. All of them are very, very well deserving of these honors. And if you're bored this weekend, Red City Slickers. It's a great Billy Crystal movie. Next up, my friends, there's a new culinary fad spread all over: deep fried rocks. No, you didn't hear me wrong. No, deep fried rocks. Apparently, it is, quote, the world's hardest dish. It is from China, the Chinese province of Hubei. It's literally stir-frying stones that you don't eat or bite them, but you suck on the rocks to relish the rich and spicy flavor of the dish. And then once they have sucked or licked off the flavors, they spit out the rocks. Hence the dish's name, Soadui, which I'm saying wrong, meaning suck and dispose. Boy, there's a joke in there. But it is starting to pick up a lot of popularity, like various street vendors. So to do this, vendors get rocks, obviously. Vendors pour chili oil onto pebbles sizzling on a grill. Sprinkle garlic sauce over them, and then stir-fry everything in a mix of garlic, cloves, and diced peppers. As they prepare the ingredients, the sidewalk chefs will narrate their every move with rhymes, according to various Chinese social media channels. Quote, the portion of spice brings passion alive. The dish is as popular as alcohol. Customers are served these flavored stones in palm-sized boxes. Each portion is about $2.30, and then they usually keep the pebbles as a souvenir afterwards. This meal, snack, whatever, is believed to date back hundreds of years. Passed down for generations by boatmen through their oral history, according to local media reports. Back in the day, boatsmen could become stranded in the middle of the river and run out of food while delivering goods. Quote, find happiness in bitterness. They would find stones to cook with and other condiments to make the dish. So basically, I mean, it may sound weird and whatnot, but for me, this is like a popsicle. Like, it's something on a piece of wood that you sort of bite, you lick off and whatnot, and then you throw away the wood. In this case, it's just a bunch of flavors and crust on a rock. So, different. You don't want to swallow them, but if you're in southern China, check out deep fried rocks. Will I try some? No. But if you do, you let me know. My friends, it doesn't matter how much garlic or chili sauce or deep friedness you throw on my pal DC, his flavor is always fantastic. So is his music. That's his flavor, the music of dance and whatnot. And he's got 3 shows here on AWSM Radio. First up, Fridays at 9 p.m., it's DC Live in Effect. He is our in-house DJ here, and you do not want to miss out while he smashes it on the ones and twos, kicking the beats from South Florida every week. Then on Saturdays, it's DC House Party Saturdays. DC brings his freestyle DJing to the max. House Party Saturdays gives you all the Miami vibe without actually having to be there for the top clubs or the bars. DC will bring the party to you. That's Saturdays at 10 p.m. And then on Sundays at 10 p.m., you don't want to miss it out because it's DC Live in Effect again. So, just to review, Fridays at 9 p.m., it's DC Live in Effect. Saturdays at 10 p.m., DC House Party Saturdays. And then Sundays at 10 p.m., DC Live in Effect, once again, my friends, on AWSM Radio. We now go to entertainment news, where officially Wednesday, the series on Netflix featuring Wednesday Addams, Jenna Ortega, who is amazing at that role. According to various metrics, Netflix has announced changes to its viewership metrics, now reporting how many people have watched by views. This is the average of hours of views divided by total runtime. while the measurement window has also been expanded from measuring a movie or show from the first 28 days to 91 days, allowing new titles a chance to adequately grow. This will also be the metric that ranks the top 10 lists for Netflix along with popular lists, and the announcement reveals that the new show now sits at the top of the most watched series of all time. So they've changed the metrics a bit, expand the days where they count things, and they change how they count these views as well. And with these changes, it would better reflect what people are doing on Netflix, so they can better provide suggestions. Wednesday is now the most popular English series of all time on Netflix. Very popular because it overtook Stranger Things 4, which had the edge of a longer runtime of 13 hours. According to Netflix, Wednesday series garnered 252.1 million views compared to 140.7 million views for Stranger Things 4. Rounding out the top 5 most popular English language shows are Dahmer Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. Go figure. Bridgerton season 1. So the Dahmer series, 115.6 million views. Never saw it. Bridgerton season 1, 113.3 million views. Saw it, loved it. The Queen's Gambit at 112.8 million views. Also saw that one also. But the most popular series overall, regardless of it being English, is Squid Game with 265.2 million views. On the non-English show list, the series is followed by Money Heist Point 4 at 104 million, Lupin Part 1 at 95.5, Money Heist Point Part 5, 92.2, and Money Heist Part 3 at 80 million. I guess that Money Heist movie is very popular because it's on there. Go figure. Red Notice, starring the trio of Gal Gadot, The Rock, and Ryan Reynolds, is Netflix's most popular English language movie with 230.9 million views. The runner-ups for most popular English movies include Don't Look Up at 171.1. Saw it. Actually, I actually saw Red Notice also. The Adam Project at 157.6. Saw it. Bird Box, 157.4. Didn't see it. And The Gray Man at 139.3 million views. Didn't see that one either. So, I've seen most of those. Obviously not the non-English one because I only speak English. But those are the new top lists at Netflix after they've tweaked their algorithm and counting a bit to better reflect what people are actually doing on the video streaming service. Moving along to closer to home, last weekend, after the recording and broadcast of my show, there was a pretty big accident in Philadelphia. Yes. A tanker truck took a curb too hard underneath I-95, which, if you're not from this area or the East Coast, is a main north to south highway running from Maine all the way down to Florida. It crashed under a bridge and exploded and collapsed part of the highway and damaged the other one to the point where people could not drive on it because it was collapsing. A few people drove over that section of the highway before the collapse, and there was a noticeable dip in the road, like you almost bottomed out. It was about to fall down. So it is a major artery through the city, and no one could take any cars over it. And the bridge, part of the bridge was destroyed. The other part was damaged beyond repair. And it was a major issue. They thought it could be months before they could put that bridge back in there how they normally build bridges. So, obviously, you can't do that because traffic was being diverted into the city, and around the city was having a major economic impact. So, put their heads together, and it is a 5-lane highway? I want to say it's a 5-lane highway. So, instead of closing down the highway for a few months and putting a bridge in there, what they're going to do, and what they've done, is they put up a wall sides, and they filled in, called backfill, they filled in the space between these two where the road has been damaged. And they're going to open 3 lanes of highway while they rebuild the bridge slowly in lanes, probably the next several months, if not a year, until they can reopen that section completely. So, and they thought it would take 2 weeks for them to do this. They will be reopening the traffic to the highway this weekend. Less than a week later, they've managed to reopen the highway. Now, it's only be 3 lanes and 45 miles an hour going through there. So, obviously, be a bit of a bottleneck, but much better than detouring off the roads, going through the city, and then getting back up to the highway again. So, pretty amazing stuff. Obviously, the road that went under the bridge is going to be closed for months because it's filled in now. But they were going to work on the 2 outer lanes, repair those, then open those for traffic, and then work on the inner lanes, I guess, one at a time until they get all 5 lanes. I think 5 lanes. I feel like it's 5 lanes. 4 or 5. All the lanes open once again. So, pretty amazing stuff. They filled in the middle, not with dirt, because dirt can sort of compact and subside. But what they did is they got this glass aggregate, like recycled glass, that's super hard, super strong, doesn't expand or contract, filled that in with that, and then paved over it. In fact, they're painting lines. They're painting either today or yesterday. They were concerned about rain because the pavement needs to be dry before they can paint on it. So without delaying anything, they called the Poconos Raceway, which is a racetrack up in the Pocono Mountains, and drove down their jet-powered road drying truck. So to dry the track, they have this truck with like a jet engine on the back that blows air real quickly to dry off pavement, and they have that truck down there in case it rains. They can quickly dry off the pavement and keep it dry so they can paint it. Pretty amazing stuff. So, if you're driving down I-95, you're not going to have to take a detour here after this weekend. With that said, you'll have to go a little bit slower. There'll be a little bit of traffic there, a little bit of a bottleneck. But, pretty amazing stuff. They thought it'd take months to reopen, then 2 weeks. Done in less than a week. Good job, engineers. Moving along, credit cards, debit cards. Do you have one? Probably. We just about all of us do. Does anyone pay for cash for everything now? I don't think so. Why? Hard to keep track. I don't keep receipts. So instead of keeping receipts, everything's digital, so I can look it up later. Well, anyways, credit cards, plastic. Put on the plastic. Well, they don't last forever. And MasterCard is now launching a global plan to recycle credit cards. They launched a global project to recycle credit and debit cards as a plan to save billions of cards in circulation from ending up in landfills. They initially partnered with British lender HSBC in 8 branches in Britain. MasterCard says banks across the world, some have launched their own local initiatives, could join the program to help build economies of scale. Quote from Ajay Baha, president of Cyber and Intelligence at MasterCard Inc., quote, "We are inviting all card users around the world to partner with us no matter what region they're in and offer card recycling to their customers." Under the plan, MasterCard provided shredding machines to HSBC, each of which was capable of holding 10,000 cards, or about 110 pounds of plastic. Once full, they transfer the plastic to a recycling facility. Quote from Jose Cavaro, head of wealth and personal banking at HSBC United Kingdom. The recycling pilot will provide us with some very important insight and will inform our longer-term plans. Currently, MasterCard says it has 3.1 billion cards in circulation, and each year, around 600 million credit cards are produced by the credit card industry, each with a lifespan of about 5 years. According to the Nielsen report, which analyzes the credit card financial industry, it puts the total cards in circulation at nearly 26 billion in 2022 and could be up to 28.4 billion in 2027. Soaring plastic use has created one of the world's biggest environmental challenges. Plastic waste being buried in landfills, polluting rivers and oceans as well. So they're hoping to take some of those credit cards out of landfills and start recycling them as well. So look for that. I don't know if there'll be a program near you soon, but I would not be surprised that your credit card companies will start offering this to you very soon. Moving along, cities. Most livable cities. That's right. The Economics Intelligence Unit, the EIU, has come out with the top 10 most livable cities for 2023. The EIU is a sister organization to The Economist and ranked 173 cities around the world on a significant number of factors, including healthcare, education, stability, infrastructure, and the environment. This year, Vienna, Austria, held onto its first place spot in this global livability index, winning praises for its reliable infrastructure, standout culture, entertainment, and impeccable education and health services. The city has occupied the top spot several times over the years. Was followed closely by Denmark's Copenhagen, which retained its second place position. Australia's Melbourne and Sydney dropped down the list in recent years. Sydney fell out of the top 10 list, and Melbourne tied 10th place for Osaka in 2022, but both have shot back up, taking 3rd and 4th place, respectively. Canada was also well represented this year, with 3 of its cities, Calgary, Vancouver, and Toronto, taking spots in the top 10. Switzerland had 2 entries at Zurich and Geneva. Osaka, which saw a small boost in its cultural environmental ratings due to the withdrawal of COVID-related restrictions, round out the top 10. So, just to review, and of course, there are cities at, the bottom of the list. That includes Algiers in Algeria, Tripoli in Libya, and Damascus in Syria as the 3 least livable cities in the world. Damascus, consistently one of the lower-ranked cities in the survey, has seen no improvement in its livability scores this year. But Kiev, which was missing from the 2022 list due to Russia's invasion in February, fell down in the list this year as a direct result of the impact of the war. They are now ranked among the 10 least livable cities in the world. That is not completely unsurprising as well. In the United States, Honolulu is the biggest city with the highest U.S. rating, which is at 25th place. San Diego, which was at 61 on the list, Los Angeles 57, both dropped 17 places as well. So, yeah. So just to review the top 10 cities. Number 1, Vienna, Austria. Number 2, Copenhagen, Denmark. Number 3, Melbourne, Australia. Number 4, Sydney, Australia. Number 5, Vancouver, Canada. Number 6, Zurich, Switzerland. 7 place was tied, so these 2 cities are both in 7th place. Calgary, Canada. Geneva, Switzerland. Number 9, Toronto, Canada. And number 10 of the top 10 most livable cities, Osaka, Japan. My friends, I just went over the top 10 cities to live in, but the number 1 show to listen to on your afternoon commute home is the Rock Sessions. That's right, it's our drive time show here. You're making sure that your evening/afternoon commute home is fun, depending on what time zone you're in. Featuring the hottest music on the charts and some other surprises in between. My friend, the beautiful, fantastic, lovely Rocks will make it rocks, rock style, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Only here, my friends, on AWSM Radio. Next, my friends, to move on to bees. Bees. I am terrified of bees. I hate bees completely. But they are vital to the environment for pollination and obviously honey and whatnot. Bees, half of all bee colonies died last year, making it very hard for America's beekeeping community to keep the population stabilized. beekeepers lost nearly half of their managed colonies and whatnot. But despite that, they used costly and Herculean, quote in the story, measures to create new colonies. Beekeepers are keeping afloat. Even though that half of the colonies were lost, the beekeeping population has remained relatively stable. Like I said, honeybees are crucial to the food supply, pollinating more than 100 crops we eat, including nuts, vegetables, berries, citrus, melons. Scientists say the combination of parasites, pesticides, starvation, and climate change keep causing these large die-offs. Last year, there was a 48% annual loss, up from the previous year of 39%, and a 12-year average of 39.6%. Not as high as the 2020-2021 50.8 mortality rate and whatnot. Beekeepers told the surveying scientists that 21% loss over the winter is acceptable, and more than 3/5 of beekeepers surveyed said that their losses were higher than that. It's a lot. Quote, Jeff Pettis, former government bee scientist and president of the Global Beekeeping Association, said that, quote, this was a very troubling loss number that we barely managed sufficient colonies to meet pollination demands in the United States. It also highlights the hard work that beekeepers must do to rebuild their colonies every year. The population of the bees remained stable because of commercial beekeepers splitting and restocking their hives, finding or buying new queens, or even starter packs for colonies. Said the University of Maryland bee researcher Nathaniel Steinhauer, the author of the study. It's expensive and time-consuming. However, this is not as bad as it was apparently 15 years ago, as you may require, because beekeepers have learned how to rebound from their big losses. In 2007, many bee experts expected an end to the managed population, as in there would be no more beekeepers because they're losing bees so quickly. But they've managed to stabilize it. It's not a bee apocalypse. According to the author of the study, quote, the situation is not really getting worse, but it's also not getting really better. Quote, there are threats certainly in the environment, and honeybees have persisted. I don't think honeybees will go extinct, but I think they will always have these sorts of challenges. Some commercial beekeepers have succeeded in the past by losing as much as 80% of their colonies in the past year. While other beekeepers did well, it also varied many other areas. Pettis, who has 150 colonies in Maryland's Eastern Shore, had less than an 18% loss, saying he used organic acids for mite control. Mites really hurt bees and will destroy colonies. So it's a pretty big thing. Also, the weather also hits them pretty differently as well. For example, Washington, D.C. had an 80-degree warmth in January, which brought some bees out of their normal winter routine, and when it turned cold again, they had problems and whatnot. So bees are very important, especially honeybees. Wasps and the yellow jackets, they're not important. They're not pollinators. Honeybees are pollinators. If you have a honeybee colony, best to get a professional to manage it so it can be saved and moved to somewhere else to provide pollination for the food we eat. My friends, we have everything here on AWSM Radio, including sports coverage. That's right, Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. It's To The Rack with Mac. To The Rack with Mac is your go-to spot for all things basketball. Join NBA expert Mac Daddy as he brings you a full hour of high-flying hoops expertise for all things NBA. Tune in Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. and then at 10 p.m. also on Wednesdays. It's What's Going On. What's Going On is our Fox Sports affiliate show, providing listeners with over 150 combined years of sports knowledge. Hosted by Nate Brown and his crew, they've become a staple of New York sports for the past 2 decades, and now they're national, and we have them Wednesdays at 10 p.m. So, just to review, To the Rack with Mac, Wednesdays at 9 p.m., and What's Going On, Wednesdays at 10 p.m., only here, my friends, on AWSM Radio. And that, my friends, wraps up this week's Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Remember, you can follow me across a slew of social media channels: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Counter Social, Twitch.tv at Colt S. Taylor. The podcast version of the show can be found at anchor.fm/Colt S. Taylor. And then, of course, bookmark ColtSebastianTaylor.com for all your Colt Sebastian Taylor needs. And then finally, if you're into social media as much as I am, I use a great social media management company called socialbee.io. Check them out for 14 days for free. You won't regret it, my friends. Until next time, my fantastic listeners around the world, I am, of course, the one, the only Colt Sebastian Taylor. And I'll see you later. And once again, thank you for listening to the podcast version of the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor, airing Saturdays and Sundays at 11 a.m. Podcast posted, which you're listening right now, shortly after that Sunday rebroadcast. And remember, check out socialbee.io for all of your social media management needs. And until next week, once again, I'm Colt Sebastian Taylor, and I'll see you later.